Alright, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the first edition of the Holmes News Show. I'm so happy to have you. We're gonna go over a lot of cool new speedrun world records and discoveries. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun here. I have prepared a whole program with a ton of fucking shit for the different games. Basically every game except Bloodborne and Demon's Souls for today. And the first thing on the menu is the Speed Souls event. Or I guess it's not Speed Souls, it's Souls Speedrun community now. We had the Souls charity marathon. And here is the schedule. I was lucky enough to be in it on a few different occasions, which we'll talk about. But yeah. So this was a couple days ago now. But we were, doing a speedrun marathon for charity. And we ended up in the end raising $14,000 for Save the Children. Yeah, so we ended up raising $14,000 for the for Save the Children, which was pretty awesome. This is including, I believe, including all the merch sales, which also, where the money also went to charity. So, yeah. I don't think it's gonna go up anymore, but this means that the lifetime total contribution from the marathon is $100,044, because this was actually the 7th year we did it, or this is the first year that I was in it last year as well for like 20 minutes. And also, I'm not an organizer, but, I just took part. So the people who actually organized this, it's the Souls speedrunning community. Regal, Ashwin, Red, Danflesh, all those guys. So yeah, let me go back to the schedule for the event. I think I want to go over a little bit some of the runs, and I've been told that soon-ish the VOD should be uploaded, so that or they'll be re-uploaded to YouTube and cut down so people can watch the full runs. So it started Friday, and this is, all of these will be in my time, which is 1 hour ahead of GMT. So it started at 12 p.m. where we had some nice old Dark Souls 3 all bosses, but then immediately after, Dan was on doing his Sekiro run, where I did commentary on. That was a really nice run. I had a lot of fun with Dan for that one. And this whole thing, spanned over 3 days. So day one, I only was on for that one, and I was actually sleeping through most of the other things here. But we also had some meme runs in there, like Lord of the Rings. We have some other games that aren't from the FromSoft saga, like Sonic and some more Sonic, Lies of P, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah, exactly, Riflets. And oh yeah, I saw this one as well. This is like a proper cursed game. The Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. But yeah. The next... Oh wait, when was the... Oh yeah, this one. This run was really cool. The tail cut percent. Where basically the goal was to cut the tails of all the bosses and shit, where you can get like a drop from cutting their tails. it was actually a really fun little run. It's quite long because you have to go all over the fucking map. Like you have to go to the end of the what's it? The Great Hollow to cut the tail from the Eternal Drake or Stone Dragon or whatever his name is. Yeah. And then, you know, we had some more shit that I didn't watch. But then, boom, boom, boom. Also, Mitch, the Lies of P. Hell yeah. We had the big one. The real big one here. Which was the All Souls and Sekiro relay race. So, what this is, right, is every Souls game and Sekiro. This year is the first year that Sekiro was part of it. Last year it was All Souls and then Elden Ring for the first time around. But this year they added Sekiro, and Sekiro was the last game. So it went Demon Souls, which was the remake, DS1, DS2, DS3, then Bloodborne, then Elden Ring, and then Sekiro. So, I should have. So you can see here the teams, but actually, where is the? I should have been ready with this one as well. I forgot. So the teams. Let me pull them up because the teams changed a little bit because we had a little bit of fallout. Parky and Aggie were supposed to be running Sekiro, but there ended up being some last minute replacements, and a certain fella that you guys know got to play. Let me pull up the teams. So these were the teams. I don't know how well you can see, but so these were the original teams for the relay race. So in case you're not totally aware, like the relay race is where you play through all the games, and the category was 80% glitchless. So yeah, no glitches. But the idea is that you have two teams, and you gotta play all the games back to back with a different person. And when your teammate is done with Demon Souls, then your team's next player would start DS1, and then when he's done, DS2, and so on. And so these were the two teams, Team Speed Guy and Team Wicked Dog. So for Team Speed Guy, it was Litonator, the German guy who's also recently been doing Sekiro, Nerus, who's a Dark Souls 1 speedrunner who I don't know, or I didn't know beforehand. Nick Style, who's a GigaChat legendary DS2 runner. Hemlock, who is a really fucking nasty Dark Souls 3 player. He's also a friend of mine. Ahadi, the greatest of all time Bloodborne speedrunner. Nuclear Pasta Tom, really a nice player. Formerly the hitless world record holder for that game. And then Aggie. So this is a pretty solid team. Going up against them were Team Wicked Dog with mega action hands, who I don't know, Scoops, who I also don't know, and then Doom, who is also a I don't know if he's an OG, but he's definitely been around for a while on Dark Souls 2. I actually played against him in the Speed Souls chess tournament like 2 years ago, where I did end up beating him, but he still ended up finishing ahead of me in the total standings on that. But yeah, then Sieg, who is like really good Dark Souls 3 speedrunner, really good, holds many records and shit. Blanks, who's also like one of like those guys who have who's really good at a lot of different games, like Elden Ring world records, Bloodborne. I don't know if he's quite on the, maybe he is, maybe that's me being uninformed, but you know, you know, Ahedi did have the upper hand on Bloodborne, but he's really nasty. Also on Demon Souls, actually. He's probably the best Demon Souls remake runner. And then Mitch on Elden Ring. Mitch is... I always underestimate Mitch. Mitch is actually really good at this run. And then, lastly, Parky. But, as I said, we did have a little bit of fallout, so actually the teams ended up being me replacing Lil Aggie, and Mitriz doing another run for Parky. Or like at the end instead of Parky. So I was on Team Speed Guy, and you know, Mitch just took an extra run on Team Wicked Dog. Now, spoiler warning, in case maybe some people from the future want to watch the run or watch the race without getting the spoilers, this is your time to close your ears or skip forward a little bit. Because, yeah, I'm gonna spoil it. Alright. So, our team... it was an insanely close match, because you have to remember that this run... Oh, where do I move this? Move it up here. This run is 7 hours. It ended up in the end being a little bit less. I think it was around 6.5 hours, 6 hours, 40 minutes. But this is like, you can imagine the amount of things that could go wrong over all that time that could end up like getting one team massively ahead. But in the end, it actually came down to literal minutes. Or it could have even come down to seconds. So, at the start, it was quite even, all the way up till, oh well, on Demon Souls it was pretty even. On Dark Souls 1, Team Speed Guy went quite a bit behind, and then on Dark Souls 2, and on Dark Souls 3, and on Bloodborne, we started catching up a little bit. Then on Elden Ring, we went behind again, so when it was my time to go, our team was a little bit behind. Yeah. Sadly, I could not make up that gap. I had a little bit of an incident on the Purple Monkey. And so Mitch ended up... I was not able to close the gap on Mitch. So Team Wicked Dog won. But I was literally on Ishin when he finished. I was halfway through second. I was at the start of second phase, and I did a mistake. I got hit, so I had to take a revive. And when I was in that revive, which is, you know, it's not quite at the start of phase 2, but right there was when he finished. Like, it was half of a phase of a boss in between, like, winning and losing. Some people said that if I had not beefed the Ishin deflect, that we would have won. I am not entirely sure, but we'll see when the run becomes available. Either way, it was really exciting. Another thing to mention is that throughout the run, there were these incentives that people could donate to that would add a penalty to one of the teams on each game. And the way it worked is that the runners ahead of time agreed on some sort of punishment that would be able to even out the run a little bit more. For example, on Dark Souls 2, you had to fight the final boss without buffing. On Dark Souls 3, you had to fight Soul of Cinder with fat rolling. On Bloodborne, you had to fight Gearman, who you usually can skip by just doing a different dialogue option. And on Elden Ring, you had to fight Goldfree? I think it was Goldfree with a bad weapon, with the unupgraded samurai Uchi-Katana, that's the one. And on Sekiro, we had to fight Monk instead of cheesing. I think on Demon Souls, one of the bosses you had to fight with less damage also And on Dark Souls 1, sorry, I don't remember. Who even cares about Dark Souls 1? Okay. But yeah. So in the majority of the run, it was Team Wicked Dog who was getting the punishments. So we did have that advantage. But I still think that they didn't make up that much time. Like, Mitch had a little bit of an incident against Monk. But it didn't lose him so much time. Like his run, like when he started his run, we were not done with Elden Ring yet, right? Because there was a little bit of an incident on the final boss. I can't remember if it was on Godfrey or because I was sitting and getting ready during that part, so I didn't see the final ending of Elden Ring. But yeah, I had to start with a little bit of a time disadvantage, and of course it's just whoever has their team complete the final game who wins. There isn't anything like comparing in-game time or anything like that. It's just purely whoever's last player finishes first. So when I started, Mitch was already well into the tutorial, and I tried catching up, and it helped a little bit. I did get ahead of him, I think, after a corrupted monk, and then we had a similar ape, and then I made a mistake on Ishin, and that ended up being the equalizer. But of course, like, if you saw it, you saw what happened on the purple monkey. I mean, I'm not gonna say that I lost to RNG, but I'm definitely gonna say that I lost to RNG. Like, the fact that I had to reset the arena, I lost a fucking minute to that. It's a little bit frustrating, but hey, what can you do? Nothing. That's the answer. And it does matter also, because it's for charity and no one really cares, to be honest. But hey, it was still kind of fun having a little bit of competitive shit included. Alright. I think that's gonna be it for the relay race. There is, I guess, a little bit on day 2. This run by Fujo. Wait, where is it? Here. Dark Souls 2 all bosses. Really nice, really nice. With unrestricted, so he was parry walking all over the place. That was really awesome. Yeah. And while he was practicing for that, he actually ended up getting a new record. Let's open this. We'll probably get a fuck ton of porn ads, hopefully not. Oh, the ad block on Opera is pretty good. Oh, shit. What the fuck? I didn't know this was a thing. Okay, well. So, yeah, he Fujo got this run in preparation for the event. And he beat his own record by a little bit. Fujo has really been dominating this category when Olsku isn't playing. You can see there's not a lot of players playing this. It's a difficult run. This is one of the runs on Dark Souls 2, or I should say the run on Dark Souls 2 that I'm looking quite forward to trying. I really like Dark Souls 2 all bosses, especially the unrestricted with all the crazy skips and shit. Yeah. But I guess that actually kind of wraps everything up. Like, there was also this, which is like where they PvP'd. And you could like snipe them. I know a certain Sekiro player that we know who likes PvP was trying to snipe them, but it didn't work out. So, yeah. Alright. Okay. So, there is another event coming up soon, which I'm looking forward to a lot also. And that's the Nitro Cup. for Elden Ring ran by, I don't know. But the prize pool at this point is looking pretty juicy. Almost $1,000. And it's a pretty good distribution. Oh well, it's actually not, but oh shit. Oh, I didn't add I forgot to add alerts to these scenes. Thank you, Dana, for rating. I appreciate it. We're going over some speedrun news here. Alright, so this event will be happening on the 16th and the 17th, and also I'll just hit you guys up with a link. Just so you guys can bookmark it and shit. But basically, these guys will all simultaneously for an 8-hour period be live streaming Elden Ring 80% glitchless attempts. For a period of 8 hours, they will be trying to see who can get the best times, and the 7 people with the best times will move on to the second round, which is the following day on the 17th. So on the 16th, all of these guys, or girls, I don't know, I only know a couple of them. All of these people will be doing attempts simultaneously live on Twitch on their own separate channels, I think. I'm pretty sure. And they will be, you know, going at it. One twist on the rule set for this is that quit-outs are not allowed. You may have seen Forza, Nuclear Pacitom, Midge, and Chemist practicing that. And that was for this event. Really fucking nice prize pool. And we're gonna have some awesome gameplay. You can see here who contributed to the prize pool. And, you know, in case anyone out there wants to throw some extra money at them, you can just follow the link. I'll put all the links on when this becomes a YouTube video. I'll put all the links in the description, and I'll also send them to you guys in the chat. Yeah. Okay, so for the second round of the event, which is the following day, there will be 2 rounds, I guess. Which, firstly, is gonna be the 7 runners, the 7 best runners. Actually, hold up. Let me just make sure I'm getting this correct. It's gonna be the 7 best players from the previous day. So the 7 people who got the fastest time. So in that 8-hour period that they have on day 1, they'll just try and get the best run that they can. And whatever best run that they get is what they'll be ranked by. And everyone below top 7 will be cut out. And then those 7 people, they will be doing a race. So they should all, at least this is how I'm understanding it, they will all be starting simultaneously. And the 5 people who finish first will move on, and the 2 people who finish last will be disqualified again. So that's the quarterfinals. Then for the semifinals, those 5 guys will go head to head. And again, 2 people will be eliminated before the finals, where the 3 fastest people from the race will go head to head. And that will determine the final winners of the event. So if you saw the prize pool, if you get 4th or 5th, so if you get eliminated in the semifinals, you know, that's okay. You still get 40 bucks. But for the last 3 guys, they will be fighting over quite a lot of money here. But I still think that it's a good distribution. You know, last place or second place is getting almost as much as first place. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's so the qualifier there are around so so the way it works is that the first day they'll just qualify and then they get the 7 placements. The second day the 7 players will race and 2 people will be disqualified. The two slowest people on the race, and then on the that would be the quarterfinals where they are 7 and going down to 5, and then the semifinals would be 5 going down to 3. In the finals it would be the 3, and then you know they get the placements there depending on their speed. So basically every time you advance, all previous results are they don't matter anymore because you already qualified. But the 4th and 5th place, you know, when they get disqualified when they get eliminated, I should say, in the semifinals, they, you know, they already assured 40 bucks. So, and if you get into the finals, you're guaranteed to get 150 bucks. So that's pretty nice. I don't know a lot of these guys. I know Forza was probably the favorite. He's currently the runner, as far as I know, who has gotten the best time without quit out so far. There is also Overeater, who's also a pretty nasty speedrunner, also a French guy, and he was also very active on Dark Souls 3 glitchless, so he's definitely someone to watch out for. Mitch, of course, and Chemist, who's currently number 2 on any percent glitchless, the official speedrun leaderboard category, where of course Forza is number 1. Actually, let's pull up those real quick. Oh, I didn't mean to do that, but so Forza is number 1, Chemist is number 2, Nuclear passes on number 3, and Blanks, who is also, oh my god, hold up, let me, I did it a little bit not smart. So Blanks is also in there, and sorry, but I don't know like most of these people, but I guess maybe if you look hard enough you'll find some of them in here. But yeah, so it'll be Blanks, Nuclear passes on. These will be the favorites, although I will add that, oh, I guess Wolfspin's also pretty good. That was the person who donated 500 bucks to the prize pool. That's awesome. But there's also Mitch. He's a little further down. He's not that far down. How can I find him? Oh, there. But he also hasn't submitted in a while, as you can see. He is well on his way to improving this. He is aiming to beat this time with the no quit out version, because obviously not being able to do quit outs is a disadvantage for the in-game time, but since they will be racing on the second day, well, I don't know if they're gonna go by in-game time or what they're gonna go by, but they it's a disadvantage sometimes to drop real time, which quit outs do. For example, if you quit out on a door to skip the animation, that's actually longer time, but it's faster with the in-game time measurement. So we'll see what happens. I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna be fucking glued to my screen on the 16th of December watching this shit. I can tell you that much. For 8 hours, I'll be just sat there fucking laying back, fucking enjoying some fucking competitive gaming. I also do think that there's gonna be like a stream where everything will be combined, where they'll probably be showing off the people who are on runs or some stuff. I'm not entirely sure. Like, there is a little bit of a language barrier, I feel, because the organizer are French, and so the communication isn't the clearest. The docs that you can go read here, which has the information, it doesn't really have any information. Like, there is also a Discord, which I didn't join because, yeah. But anyway, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be great. Alright. So we already touched on the fact that Fujo got a new record on DS2. But we have a few more records that we have to cover. And I think the first one we should cover is this one. So there has suddenly kind of been a drop here in the Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition 80% force quit category. This is the fastest category apart from New Game Plus, but that doesn't count. This is the fastest category. It's faster than any percent because it allows for the force quit mechanic, which enables you to do a wrong warp earlier than you're otherwise capable of doing. In the any percent category, they use something called a homeward wrong warp, which is this HWW. It requires you to pick up a few items, most notably the homeward spell miracle. I think it's a miracle, right? And that also means you have to upgrade some stats and shit, I think. I don't know. We're not talking about that category. We're talking about this category today. So the reason for this kind of big drop, I'll show you in a moment what the real drop is, because it looks like this was where the record was before, but this is not where it was before, because this was the old route. But a couple, I think around a month ago, there was a little bit of a rediscovery of some old tech that had been found long ago that ended up being able to piece together a route that is a minute faster. So this is where we were a couple months ago, or even like actually 1 month ago, because this is the most recent one. So 1 month ago we were on this time, which stood for 2 years and 9 months, almost fucking 3 years. This record stood. This run was bananas, absolutely bananas. I want to show you something. So I don't know how well you can see this, but if you look at the best possible time here, 1942, and he finished with 1949. He lost only 7 seconds compared to what the ideal run would have been. That is absolutely crazy. And that was why this run stood for like fucking forever. Almost 3 years. Like this is fucking January 2021. And this was up until a month ago, it was still the record on this category. So in that time, some people had been working on some new routes, and there was, so you know, when you only have 7 seconds more to save, you're not gonna just like try and improve it by bashing your head into a wall. Like if you look, that was already what he had been doing for like a long time, you know? He was on like a 2025 when he took it back from Gundrake here back in 2019, and then he slowly put down the time over multiple months until he got to this one. And so at that point, there's not really any more time to squeeze out of the route. So you kind of had to figure out some new strats, right? And what people came up with was, because on the old route you would use you would use the Great Club, and I'm gonna show you where you pick that item up. Oh, nice. Hold up a second, we gotta watch an ad. Okay, so one of the reasons that the new route is significantly faster is because in this area, in Blighttown, you have to get the Great Club, which is all the way over in this corner of the area, which means that you actually have to go down here. You have to go through this area, like Blighttown, and there is a skip to go completely past this area and directly to Quelaag, who you need to kill so you can ring the bell, right? That's the two requirements for this category, is ringing the 2 bells and getting the Lord Vessel, and then you can complete the game. That's basically what you have to do in this category. Because after you get the after you can place the Lord Vessel in the Fire Link altar, then you can just do your Force Quit Wrong Warp and teleport into the kiln. So you don't actually have to collect any of the Lord Souls. You just need to ring the 2 bells, get the Lord Vessel, put it down, then Force Quit Wrong Warp and kill Gwyn, and then you're done. So you can also see by the splits, 2 minutes after ONS is dead, you're done with the game. Like, I don't know, that may be a little small. Let me enhance. You can see where my cursor is. So yeah. A lot of time could be saved if you could get a different weapon where you don't have to take as much of a detour, because that would mean that you could also make use of the Blighttown skip, which puts you from like way above the map, which is, you know, where you would normally be, because you don't really have any reason to not just skip directly to Quelaag. You don't need to go through all this Valley of Drake bullshit. You only have to go to the elevator that goes down to Valley of Drakes to do the Blighttown skip. And so, the weapon that they came up with is the BKS, the Black Knight Sword, which drops from this enemy. This brings up a thing that is quite it's an ever-present thing in Dark Souls 1, which is farming for weapons. Usually, and actually always, I'll say, actually there is a exception to this on all bosses, but usually the best weapons are the ones that are random drops. So unfortunately, you have to toss out 80% of your runs to farming, because this sword is a 20% drop, and the same thing with the Black Knight Halberd or the Black Knight Greatsword, which are also weapons that are used for other categories. And the one exception for this is all bosses on the original version of Dark Souls 1, on the Prepare to Die edition, you use the Bluetooth. Or the Dragon Tooth, sorry. The route is called Bluetooth, because you pick up some blue shit or something. I'm not quite sure. But yeah. So one of the routes that were already thought up a long while ago was to get the Black Knight Greatsword. But it was only like 10 seconds faster. So you gotta like play for, I don't know exactly how long, like 5 minutes of the run. And then you gotta roll a dice. And if you win the 20% dice roll, then you have a potential to save 10 seconds. I think it was in total. I'm not quite sure on if that is fully what it is, but it was faster. That's all I know. I haven't been able to find the exact numbers, and I'm not gonna time it myself because I don't play the game. So this was alternatively thought up, and this was quite recently thought up. So you kill this guy, which he's right on the way. And yeah, you get the sword, and you just use this to fight all the bosses. And it's very good. It's yeah. The route ends up saving a minute, which is quite some good time save. So if we go to where the time was before, and this was basically the max with the old route, we should expect the time to go down 1 minute from here. So we should soon be looking at a sub 19. And we're quite close with Captain setting his 1909, which is the most recent one, but he's still going. He's still going. He wants that sub 19, and also QQ, who, you know, is no slouch. He's definitely a guy to be reckoned with. He's the any percent world record holder. He introduced the new route on here where you also farm for a weapon, so he's like quite in his comfort zone here. He's gonna put up some competition. I don't know about Regal. Regal was the first person to use the new route, so maybe we'll see him doing it again, but I think he's chilling at the moment, so I think he's in the process of moving, so maybe after he's done with that, we'll see him come back and also try and go for the sub 19, but I think we should be expecting either Captain or QQ to be the one to set the sub 19. Alright, so that concludes our investigation into the Dark Souls 1 shenanigans. I'm looking forward to seeing the sub 19. I hope you guys are too. Alright, let's go on to the next thing. So, Dark Souls 2. So, Dark Souls 2 Scholar Edition. The main run on here is actually the restricted variant. So, we have a tied record here. Ruhan recently tied Old School. Ruhan worked really fucking long on this run. I'm really glad that he could get it. Ruhan is he's a little bit of a newer runner, but he's actually extremely good. Extremely good. He also set some records on the original version. He set this record on any percent, which is the super bonkers broken version of the game. The old patch on Dark Souls 2, the original version of Dark Souls 2. So yeah, congratulations to him. There isn't really anything new. Also, I wanted to show how the leaderboard looked before he tied. He was so close. Like, and this took him 4 months to save 4 seconds. So really fucking big ups to him for grinding that out. Alright, next up, we have Dark Souls 3. We'll come back to Dark Souls 2 at the end, because there is something quite huge on Dark Souls 2, but let's go through the other games first. Dark Souls 3. There is a new world record on all bosses glitchless. And in case you're not super up to date on the route here, that will probably be the first video that will come out of the run from the Souls Charity Marathon, because that was the first run on the schedule. And that run, you know, has Sieg, who is the number 3 guy and who is like kind of the architect of many of these runs, many of these routes. Really, really integral person to the whole like routing aspect and testing and pushing the game to new heights. So that will be a thing that you can soon watch. I'll probably put it also in the description of the video when this becomes a video of that showcase, because he explains everything, or as much as he can while playing the game. But yeah, so the new record, not anything changed really. It's just, you know, more of the route. Or I should say nothing changed compared to these other ones, but the route has changed a little bit in that before you would fight the early game with the short sword, but now you use Henri's straight sword instead. I'll quickly fast forward to when that part. Oh, this is a little too far. So on this run, you bait Henri to fall off the cliff, which for starters, Horace is also gonna die, so it gives you some souls. Or Henri also gives you some souls. Is Horace gonna die? Oh, I guess he doesn't. I think maybe it doesn't matter to get the extra souls, but you basically just use the Henri's straight sword for the early game, which is quite strong. It saves a little bit of time, and apparently it's a good like average thing, because there is a route that's more risky where you don't upgrade at all with the short sword, but it's apparently garbage. But with this, you can get away with using it unupgraded, which means that you save some time on on where you would usually spend some time upgrading your weapon to get ready. Hold up, there was one more thing. So this is actually two new records. Old School first did this one, and then he did that one. So, oh no, he dropped it by 12 seconds. And he's on to this category now. He's gonna try and get the record on here. Old School had, for a little bit, a goal of getting the record on every single Dark Souls 3 category. You know, I don't think I need to say much, right? Like, look at all this. These records, man. And also, he's really crazy on Dark Souls 2 as well. But he had for a second, you know. But I think that it's pretty ambitious considering the amount of categories there are on Dark Souls 3. There is so many. Like, look at all these, and they have variants. At least all bosses spawned a new variant because of a thing that he started doing, pivot sprinting. So yeah, there is a lot of work to do there if that's gonna be his goal. Alright. That's gonna be it for Dark Souls 3. What do we have here? If only the best game ever created. Our favorite, good old Sekiro. So there isn't any like super new record to go over, but this is the most recent one by beta. The all bosses and mini bosses glitchless one. Of course, this one is brought to you by the Gokhan AI freeze, or AI break, I should say, which has been a little bit of a, I don't want to say it's been a hot debate, but it's been a little bit of a weird thing, because of course it's glitchless, and when you think glitchless, maybe you're not exactly thinking about the boss not really fighting back and just standing there. Like, this isn't probably what you would see as glitchless behavior. I mean, for a glitched run, sure, but glitchless, you know, maybe it's not exactly what you would expect, but that's just the reality of the situation. This is used in glitchless because like, it just happens randomly. There is a method to reproduce it, but it's kind of difficult to ban it because it can randomly happen, and the way it's triggered is extremely weird. I should mention that it's been known for a little while. This was the first run that was done with it, which is 11 months ago, and it was also by Beta, so we assume that Beta discovered this AI break, or I don't know if he discovered like a consistent method of doing it, but that's gonna be the next thing we'll talk about. Pumpkin 7, who is one of the top runners of this category. If you didn't see, he's number 4 currently, slightly behind Topsu. He found a consistent method of breaking Gokhan's AI. So basically what it involves is you want to make sure that there's no loading screens between you being here and when you go to Gokhan, because there is something happening where you're loading and reloading and loading and reloading a bunch of areas, and it's just like overloading the something, and the boss won't load properly, or the boss's AI won't load properly. So you talk with her, and then you also need to talk with her down here, but he doesn't do it in this demonstration. Then you have to fight Ungo Headless, who is not the one getting AI frozen, but importantly, on this move, you have to swim up. For some reason, this upswim here is somehow doing something with the map or something with loading, and it's gonna somehow break the AI of Gokhan Headless, which is the other Headless that you fight after. You would usually fight this guy, but again, for demonstration purposes, he doesn't. So you would run all the way through this area, and then you would, you know, just have a nice and fair fight. A fight without any glitches. Yeah, so this works very consistently, assuming that nothing goes wrong on this fight. If you die, or if he does not do the spin, then the AI freeze will most likely not happen, although it can sometimes randomly happen anyway. Kind of rare for it to happen randomly, but it can happen. Yeah, so ideally you want to strafe around him and make sure that when this comes that you press spacebar or the whatever jump button you have on your key on your controller to dodge it. This is the only way that it will work consistently. All right, so in the end, this doesn't really save like time. It's just like a very good thing for consistency. It saves a couple seconds because when you're fighting Gokhan, you can just run straight at him. Normally, you would take a path around here so that he doesn't see you immediately, and you can get a better angle. It's kind of hard to see with the darkness, but there is this pillar here that you would then go around like this, and then you would like kind of sneak up on him and get some better hits in on him. Yeah. This setup was found by Pumpkin, so that's pretty nice. I have employed this in a few of my own runs. So that is about it for the new record. In terms of new records that we may see, I'm not sure honestly, because the records are looking really juicy, like they're looking really good across the board for Sekiro. Like the one that is kind of overdue is the all achievements one. Like it's quite old, but I don't know who really wants to go for it. And I guess, oh wow, this is already a year old. I didn't know. Damn. I guess this one is also kind of up for grabs. This is, like, look at how old this one is. This is with before the timing update that we did. I think. Yeah, this is before the timing update. And so these records are mainly a product of the timing update. So this can probably go down like maybe a minute more. Maybe 50 seconds. pretty easily it should be beatable. I know that Sutemo has not been putting that much time in. He just went to beat the record here because you know, the record was taken by Meow XM, and then Sutemo took it back. And Seki was dominating the shit for a while. Okay. Yeah. So there are 2 new little cute strats though that have been found for Sekiro.
I'm not ready.
So the first one is this thing that Ramonchi figured out 2 weeks ago, which is where you can go faster. Sorry, can go faster during the tutorial by being locked on while jumping. And this here that you're watching is one of the, it's not the fastest that anyone has done with the new thing, but it's significantly faster than what anyone has done without this tech before. So he's able to get a 36.6 window. Sorry, correction. This is equal to what has been done without it before. But you have to keep in mind that the old method has been done for years, and the best anyone has done is this. And Ramonchi got this pretty easily, you know, within 1 day, or within just learning it, he was able to get it down to 36.6 on the window, which is really good. I wonder if I have a clip of the best that's been done, but actually I'll pull that up right now because it's not super far out of my reach. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong channel. So the best that has been done is this, which it's just like a better like use of the lock on, like more clean movement. It's basically the same thing as before, but it goes down to 35.7, which is almost a full second just within the first 37 seconds of the run, or 36 seconds, 35. Usually I get 37 windows, so you know, if I could learn this, maybe I could be saving some time here. Because this is some good time save. And this is going to be applicable to basically every category, which is nice. This is going to be quite good for the short categories. I don't know if this, I don't think this by itself will improve any records, but it's there for the next people who are going for records. One thing that you may ask is it possible on keyboard and mouse? Because it's important to note that the way this works is that you have to be locked on. You have to be locked on, and then you have to go at an angle. So usually you would take a straight line pretty much to this place, which is where you gotta jump up to get to Kuru. But because you're locked on, it's kind of hard to get a completely straight path. You see here he's actually going a little bit too much to the right at first, and now he's going a little bit too much to the left. See, he should be here instead of here. And then he corrects here, and also here he's a little bit too much on the left. So he's going in a little bit of a zigzag. And that's kind of unpreventable. You can do your, like, it will never be as straight line that you would take usually, where you can see where you're going, but it can be pretty close, at least with controller. With KBM, with keyboard and mouse, it's a little bit of a different story, because you are not able to go at any, like, the stick of the controller, you know, can be moved to any position it wants. But with KBM, you can only go in 8 directions. You can only go forward, to the side, forward, to the side, and at an angle. I don't know how I can show that on. I add an angle. At a 45-degree angle, precisely. So, that means that we have to come up with some slightly different methods here. And this is something that Pumpkin posted. Pumpkin, again, the guy who also figured out the consistent AI break method for Gokhan. Let's get some quality here. So this is kind of a different way of doing it because he is definitely, you know, going the zigzag kind of route, but overall he's still leveraging the fact that this locked on animation makes you land faster. Of course, you are not able to sprint at this point yet. You're only able to do that after you get the sword here. This is what unlocks sprinting. So the old method, of course, we would just jump like this. And the speedy part about the jumping is the jumping part. The falling part, or the descent after you reach your apex of the jump, is slow. So falling is slow. So we want to land quicker so we can jump again and get that speed boost from the jump. And that's basically what this does. It makes you land earlier so you can jump again. You can see it looks pretty fast too, right? It's almost like, you know, he's going fast here, and then when he can't lock on anymore, he goes like slow. So yeah, that's also a new thing. Another new thing is a little cool thing. This is not oh, what is going on here? Okay. A little bit of a meme there. This is a little optimization on the stomp. So instead of just jumping on his head, or deflecting and then jumping on his head, you jump, deflect, and then jump on his head. Which, you know, it means that you're jumping on his head slightly earlier. Because normally... Oh, let me go back. Normally, you have to jump up in the air before you can stomp, but here you're already in the air when the stompable part of the move starts. So it's a little faster. Again, not something that's gonna change anything, but it's something to note. And also, it does work on Fire Ishin 2. Okay. All right. So that was Sekiro. Then the last thing we'll look at, and we'll look at this pretty extensively, is the Dark Souls 2 discovery that recently happened. So in Dark Souls 2, you may know about this thing called parry walking, or alternatively called party walking. Can I get Dark Souls 2 up? Okay, there. It is basically a thing that lets you walk in the air. So it's an old glitch, right? It's like, you know, all the way back from this era. Yeah, you know, like this run 9 years ago, I think, actually uses it. You know, like some crazy shit here where you fly all over the map. You know, this has been around for a good while. But it's always been exclusive to old patch. Some time ago, they discovered a way to do it on current patch, which generally the Dark Souls 2 speedrunning is split up in 3, which is Dark Souls 2, the original version, old patch, Dark Souls 2, the original not old patch, which is, you know, all the other ones. Because for all bosses, you literally can't play on old patch because you need to play on the patch that has all the DLCs. Hey, Chemist. Yeah, we're going over some news currently. And then the third type is the Scholar. This is closer to the current patch of the older version, of the original version. So, in general, if something works on current patch of the old Dark Souls 2, it probably also works on Scholar here, and the other way around. But, so this run really didn't have like a super broken tech to kind of get you through the game like you do on the old patch. Well, we got something new. Some time ago, it was discovered that you can use the use a pair of pants. Oh, this has a lot of ads. These pants let you emulate the parry walk. And let me see if I can find a place where it's used. I think, yeah, it's used right here. So, again, it's the same thing, except here you jump. Because these pants changes the way your jump works. They make you fall slower. So, the way that generally this tech will work is that you gotta parry, you gotta take the riposte and then cancel the riposte animation. And you see, this has some real power. Like, you can glitch over this wall, which this door, like, this is basically fucking skipping like the entire game pretty much. Works because you let you jump while walking. That is it, yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a way to cancel the riposte. Thank you, Fujo. Fujo is quite a DS2 enjoyer. For those that are unaware. Quite a DS2 Chad gamer. God gamer. So, for some time, people have been using the moon, what's it called? Moonlight butterfly pants? I can't remember what they're called, but basically the skirt to do it, and it's gone by the name party walking instead of parry walking, so that you could differentiate between the two. But it was recently discovered through a proof of concept that you can actually do it without the pants. This is current patch, or it's Scholar. I'm not sure which one. I guess it's current patch on the original version. Moon butterfly skirt. Almost got it. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for the correction. But yeah, so supposedly, if you could get away with having this work on a run, then you could skip having to buy the pants, which is a bit of a time sink normally for the for this run, the true any percent of Dark Souls 2 Scholar Scholar Edition. And it did end up setting a new record, which we'll go over in a second. We'll go over it in full. first we should look at some different setups that people came up with, because like the consistency on this shit was really bad. And so you can see some of the things that people were coming up with is fucking using 5 FPS to do it. Because the category does allow you on unrestricted to toggle your FPS with Riva Tuner, which you see up here. Which allows you to do some crazy shit, but it's kind of having to use 5 FPS, but if it works, of course. Then it was also proven to be possible at 60 FPS. This is Ace, who is also a Dark Souls 2 speedrunner. Quite a nice person. And you know, that kind of leads us to this point where we get Nick Style hitting a new record with it. So we're gonna go through this run because firstly, I am a big Dark Souls 2 enjoyer, and also I got permission from Nick, so reaction time it is. So throughout the run, I'll try and comment as much as I can on the things that are new and shit, because I do know the old route, because I tried learning it and I couldn't do it, but yeah. So there isn't oh right, yeah, this come on, Nick, I gotta fucking edit that out of the run. Come on, man. Yeah, so a lot of the run is kind of unchanged, at least as far as I remember, because there was already a route where you use the mace weapon, which is the weapon that he's gonna use on the on this run, which is also you know, Stennis was one of he's the record holder on the original version of DS2 on the old patch, any percent. So he's quite knowledgeable on these types of routes. He came up with one, which is the one that's being used here, with the mace, but it's based on a route that's already existing. It's just slightly tweaked to use the new skirtless tech instead of because a lot of the old route was basically just like the routing question was getting the souls required for the pants and that, and then everything after, like, it's quite a linear run really. And so there isn't so much to fiddle around with, but one thing that we'll talk about after is another potential route, which does have a lot of little tweaks and a lot of little things that change that change these small things that, you know, can add up to a lot. So this run will look pretty normal. The first part of it is is quite close to the restricted variant, where you're just running through the area. I guess you're not even like really doing any glitches or anything yet, even though it's a pretty glitchy run. Actually, first glitch here. This was something that was recently discovered. Was that instead of taking the normal path up through this area, you can like do the skirtless parry walk here. I don't know if it's called skirtless party walk or if it's called current patch parry walk. I guess we'll have to see when it becomes more popular or some shit. Or maybe there already is a naming for it that I'm not aware of, but either way, you know, he dropped his FPS to hit it, and then he's gonna get this bonfire because he needs to return here later, because one of the requirements for beating the game is to beat Giant Lord, who is accessed through that area. So he also picked up a branch, which he's gonna use to get to the forest area, because it's blocked by a statue that the fragrant branch of yore is gonna remove. As far as I'm aware, they haven't figured out a way on this version of the game yet to really skip the having to do that branch. On the old patch and on the current patch of Dark Souls 2, the original version, you can skip that, but it's on current patch is one of the worst skips ever. I've been told. Like, that was a bounty where they had to go for it, and it was there is a branch skip. Okay. There is a... You do it in vanilla, 80% current patch. Yeah. But, so I guess the question is, does that work on Scholar as well? Which my original assumption was that it does, but since no one has really been doing it, I don't know. It works in Scholar. Alright, then I guess we got... You don't know if it's faster. Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, that's... You know, sometimes you have to check yourself if what you're doing is actually faster. But... So, one thing I want to point out here is that... normally here... you would do the bomb wall glitch. And you would go and do something called 17k glitch, which is quite a precise skip or a trick that makes the pursuer or one of the pursuer enemies die out of bounds by getting like dropped. Like, you have to time it perfectly, and it does something with the way he's being transported that he just dies, and you get 17k souls for free. And those are the ones that you usually use to buy the pants for. But because you don't have to buy the pants anymore, you can skip that part. And that's both, you know, a time save and you don't have to do it. And it's also a massive, like, consistency boost, because that was, like, one of the biggest reset points for this category, was having to get that skip. And there isn't really any good alternative to getting souls. Like, that is the best way of getting those souls early that you need. But yeah, I guess with the... we'll have to see how the route evolves. There's so much potential for these current patch categories. And the Scholar version also. It's pretty awesome. I am very, very excited to see how it's gonna pan out. And I'm sure the runners are excited to bash their heads into the wall trying to go for these crazy skips. Here he uses the branch so he can get to the forest where he'll do the skip that I also showed before, which is the Aldia gate keep gate skip door skip. I'm not like kind of a long name. Like, you're basically skipping opening the door. You're not actually skipping Aldia's Keep. You're skipping the door to Aldia's Keep. That will come up in a moment. First we have a little run through of this area. This is something that, you know, could be prevented if you could do the branch skip. But I guess Fujo said he doesn't know if it's faster, so it's definitely something that needs to be tested, timed, to be sure, but something to note at least. Branch skip kind of like launches you out into space. But actually, at the same time, it does take a while to set up, so... Yeah, you know, so many trade-offs and, like, stuff that you gotta calculate, so... There's some smart people out there who needs to figure it out. Getting the red tearstone ring for extra damage, kind of a staple of Dark Souls speedruns in general. It's gonna be awesome. Some awesome damage. Alright, so here he's gonna do the skirtless parry walk again. Oh, I don't think it worked there. You need to actually like go over him. At least that's the visual that shows you that you did it. Yeah. It looks so weird on this one. That's because the enemies have different hitboxes, so the setup is slightly different. It's a weird situation. Like, it's quite inconsistent, but hopefully runners would get more consistent with it as they move on. Actually, what he did picks up some alluring skulls. I guess that's for a more consistent dragon skip. I don't know if you can do it without. I'm gonna assume that you can, but it's really bad. And you know, when this new route, when a new big time save is found, you probably want to go safe in terms of like the risk reward kind of things. You want to take the lesser risky strats just so you can abuse the fact that the big new time save is saving you a lot of time. Then you can do the optimization later with the high risk strategies. Especially like on this run, you don't want to be resetting to something that you don't need to be resetting to. Right, so he's gonna make his way up to Guardian Dragon, where he's gonna do a skip. So basically all of this, this whole like run through from the forest all the way to here is trying to get to the ancient dragon, not the Guardian Dragon, but the ancient dragon, to get the Ashen Mist Heart, which is gonna let you fight Giant Lord, which is then gonna let you complete the game. I guess you also have to go to Drang Lake after Giant Lord. So, and that's going to forest acts as a shortcut to going to Drang Lake Castle. Because underneath Drang Lake Castle is where the final boss and the end credits trigger will be, which is what the run time will end on. So, yeah, here he did the skip. Again, it's just another parry walk, party walk, whatever you want to call it. And he's gonna make his way up through Dragon area. Someone find a skip for this elevator. I think that's one of like the most talked about things. Like whenever like there's a marathon or something and a glitch run is being run, I feel like they often bring up or like the commentators bring up, why don't you find a way to skip this elevator? That would be a huge time save, because usually that's one of the things that you can skip in like glitch runs. But in generally speaking, in FromSoft games, it's kind of hard to find tech to go up. Like, we can get things to move like vertically, or no, sorry, horizontally. But vertical, it's not so easy. And the same thing is true with Sekiro. Like, we have good ways of going down, and there are some potential things to going horizontally quite fast. But there's no way to go up, really. Like, grapples and jumping is the only two methods in that entire game to go up. In this game, you have ladders, which can be abused, but you actually need a ladder for that, right? So I don't know what my point was with that, but it's interesting piece of I don't know if I should call it trivia or what, but it's a thing. Yeah, just running through this area. This is where on the old patch you save a lot of time by having something called Bino boosting, which lets you move very fast. People are really trying to figure out a way to do that on the current patch because it's a massive, massive, massive time save. Like, it's basically... I don't know how much faster it makes you move, but it feels like it's like 3 or 4 times faster. Like, surely someone knows the math on that. Hopefully someone in chat knows, but it's like quite a bit faster. It's I honestly don't know how it works. It's like you use the bino and then you roll and then you can just like fucking speed. It's kind of like the pivot sprint a little bit in Dark Souls 3. Also known as bow glitch or mother shit. We don't have anything like that in Sekiro. And I guess these guys don't have it on the current patch and on Scholar either, so... the Dark Souls 2's current patch and Scholar is basically the same thing. But yeah. Of course there are version differences like item placements and enemy placements, but like in terms of glitches they're pretty much the same. I'm pretty... I think. Yeah. So now he's on to Giant Lord. He got the thing from the Ancient Dragon, so... Now we're actually gonna fight a boss. I know, fucking insane. Is that the first boss fight? I think it is, right? Unless you call parrying those guys' earlier boss fights. Yeah, this is the first boss fight. He's gonna buff up and he's gonna get hit intentionally for red Tearstone ring, RTSR. Man, the damage on this is not that good. But I guess that's the downside. Or that's just the thing you have to live with when the category is short. Because, you know, of course it's always a time, you know, calculation. Like, if it's worth taking the time to upgrade the weapon or whatever, but... So, this is the fastest way to do it, but it's still a little uncomfortable having longer fights than you need to. Dying on this guy is not very fun, because at this point, you're not so worried, or like you're quite worried about what's gonna happen on the final boss, as opposed to dying on this guy. Or I guess there's also a parry walk more that could also be the run ender. Like, those are generally like the hard parts about the run is the parry walks and then getting the final boss to work, which we'll see in a moment. Here he's gonna travel to the forest here, where he's gonna do a parry walk to get down into the Throne of Want, where the final boss will be. Oh. He messed up his inputs there, I guess. Good thing there are multiple of these. Or maybe he actually just... Did he have a weapon or something? But it doesn't matter. Oh, yeah. There is... You can tell on this run there is obviously still improvements to be made. But it's quite impressive that this... Like, someone got a run with this. This new route this early. At least, I think it is. But I know a few people were working on it quite hard. Let me quickly check. I think who were the people we're gonna exploit, I think, was also running. I think Stennis was also running it. I don't know if... Oh yeah, Doom was also trying it. Stennis completed a run, but it wasn't quite good enough. It was a 25-minute run. Oh, he also completed a 28 with it. But yeah, there is a lot of things that needs to go right for this run to work. We'll see where this category is headed next. It's probably gonna drop a lot soon because TLC and exploit are kinda crazy. Those are like the two top ranked guys on or they were before Nick came in with the new route here. But they were number 1 and number 2 on the leaderboards before. So he is doing another parry walk. He's trying to avoid some... I can't remember if it's a death barrier or if it's just collision, but he has to walk around here so he can drop down into the Throne of Wands. And you have to be careful you don't die of fall damage. But you also want the RTSR setup. Or maybe you don't actually, never mind. Maybe he didn't feel comfortable with it. I'm gonna assume that RTSR is faster, but of course the question is it worth it? That's a very person by person question, but I think probably no one would use RTSR here when you're on this pace for the first time. So here is what I was kind of hinting at before. You need the Watcher to fall off here and die. And it worked, which is awesome. That's like the thing that really needs to work out for you. If it doesn't work out, you know, at a high level, it's a reset. You would probably want to just quit out and retry the fight, which is also, I guess, why you would buff after, right? Because if you buff before or buff while waiting for Watcher to come over to where the drop is, then you would kind of, you know, waste your buff. Hey Guilherme. Yeah, and then you gotta kill this guy. And there is a little bit with positioning here, where you gotta be in a specific spot for the phase transition before Nashandra spawns. Or the boss transition, whatever you want to call it. You gotta be at a specific spot to hit a glitch. And he's gonna use a visual cue here. This was the only thing the part of the run that I couldn't figure out when I was trying to learn it. Was hitting this AI freeze on Nash. This is quite precise. And this was basically like why you don't like want to take risks. And why like you aren't that concerned about having the perfect run, because this has to work out. If this doesn't work out, then the run is dead. Like if you don't get Watcher to fall and you don't hit the Nash freeze, then like it's so much time loss. So really fucking nice that he was able to piece run together with this. Of course, he did have a little bit of hiccups on some of the parry walk setups, and also on the card soul at the very start of the run. But all in all, it's a pretty good run. Very promising for things to come for this category. As I said already 100 times, I'm very excited for this. I'll just let Nick finish it out here.
Meu Deus do céu. Mano.
My God in the sky, man.
Que run de merda, mano.
What a shit run.
Guys. Vai tomar no cu, cara. Mano. Meu Deus do céu, velho.
My God in the sky.
Ai, velho. Quanto que é o recorde, velho? Caralho, 21,59, velho. Mano. Que run horrível, velho.
21:54.
Caralho! Let's go, porra!
He's quite happy about this.
Caralho! Pera aí, cadê
I
a
wish I
câmera,
was there for it.
Bora! Print pro Speed Souls.
Gotta get that fucking screenshot
Moleque, eu
in
tô
there.
tremendo muito, velho.
Really, really happy for him that he got this, because on top of him getting the record, there was a $250 bounty on getting this run, which is pretty nice. And Nick cashed that money in. Like, the bounty was announced on the 13th of November, and he got this run on the 19th. So, yeah, he kind of destroyed that. So, yeah. We were gonna talk about what is this? Fucking ads. Actually, it was the same day, or almost same day. Yeah, same day as, I don't know if that's true, but at least by this, it was the same day as Ruhan got his record. That's nice. There was the thing with the different routes. So that run, this run that we just watched, was using the maze route. But there is a run using the malformed skull. Malformed skull, DS2. This weapon. I gotta be fair. I haven't seen any runs with this, or I did find one older run with it. But yeah. So apparently, a route using this instead of the mace should save apparently 15 seconds. Supposedly. TLC is the one who timed that. So we'll see if he'll bash out a run soon with that, because he said that he's also been doing runs with that route. So yeah, TLC's here on the leaderboard, and Exploit is the old world record holder who was also going for attempts. So we'll see what happens in the coming time. Maybe one of these other guys will step up. Exploit has a sub 20 SOB. Yeah, I believe it. There were some people discussing that maybe sub 20 is possible, but for now, I guess we gotta lower it a bit because we only just had a sub 22. But I believe that sub 20, yeah, is possible. But, and, sorry, if we can find a current patch version of the Bino boost, that would be insane. Like, that would completely change everything. Because that's like that thing, that little piece of glue that this run needs to be like super fast. Because you do have all the crazy skips, but the walking from A to B is still slow. Which is on the old patch, that's like fixed by having Bino boost. This thing. Let me go back. So you pick up the binos like immediately, right? And then you can just speed all over the map. Like, it's awesome. Like, look at this. Look at this. This is what we need on current patch. And on Scholar. Alright. So, the last thing on our program is the fact that there is a new bounty for Dark Souls 2. A completely new bounty. Also by Batista. Batista is quite infamous, or maybe famous, because everyone likes winning money, I guess. He's quite infamous for coming up with bounties with a lot of money on the line usually. So here I just took a little screenshot of it because I couldn't get the other way of showing it to work. So let's read it through. Hello everyone, a new speedrun bounty for the Christmas season. The bounty ends at the 30th of December at midnight Central European time. Dark Souls 2 Scholar, Burned Ivory King percent. Rules as follow. You must defeat Burned Ivory King. Time is stopped when you receive the boss soul after the battle. Soul level 1. And you gotta use the deprived class and no gift. And then it's the restricted rule set, which is, yeah, no major glitches. It's also kind of glitchless in a sense, like there's like one glitchy thing in the entire run, like bomb wall. So it's not quite glitchless, but yeah. And then the run must be streamed on Twitch. Please send your Twitch or YouTube link via DM to him. And then the prize pool, $700 for the winner and $300 for the runner-up. And then $100 will be raffled randomly among all submitted and valid runs. So, if you're shit at the game, like I am, and you just submit a valid, completed run, you know, you could win $100 if you can defeat this category, SL1, in a speedrun setting. I'm gonna assume that you can't just post your casual playthrough, but I hope no one is gonna do that because that's kind of... I mean, it's... You know, as much as I like to meme on it, it would be a bit annoying for verifiers to sit through like fucking multiple hour long thing. But yeah, some people have already been running this, and it looks like the run overall is gonna take a little bit under an hour. It kind of depends on, of course, how much it gets optimized from now on. Some people were talking about like sub 50, even like 48 or 47, but again, it's gonna be around that. And of course, the people running it, you can find them on the Dark Souls 2 directory on Twitch. Seller99 has been running it. I believe that Old School will also be running it. The guy that we went over earlier, who is quite good at Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, he's gonna be running it. And I don't know who else. Maybe Fujo will be running it. Maybe Nick Styles will be running it. We'll see. So far, I only saw Seller running it. Seller99 was also a Dark Souls. Oh, is he just? Oh, he's just called Seller on speedrun.com. But yeah, so Seller99, that's someone to follow if you guys like Dark Souls 2. And also Fujo and Nick Style. And of course Old School. Alright. So, oh shit, let me get rid of that. So, I guess this kind of concludes it for the show. I have no more news, nothing else prepared. We could have maybe talked about some, you know, Bloodborne or Demon Souls shit, but honestly, I am so utterly clueless on those games, so that would probably be doing a disservice to those communities. I felt like with the other games, I knew a little bit, and at least the goal is more so to get people interested in finding out more about it, as opposed to getting people to listen to me or whatever. Seem smart or whatever. Yeah. I have nothing else to say, really. Apart from thank you guys for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know how often I'll be doing this. I don't think I can make it a regular thing because it takes a lot of time to prepare for it. And also there isn't so many new things to go over, and if I had to go over every little thing, I'll be collecting some things over time, and we'll see if we can do another one sort of maybe in like, I don't know, a month. Like, I'm always up to date on Sekiro stuff, and I'm trying to stay up to date on Dark Souls 1 and 2 stuff. I only started really getting into Dark Souls, getting up to date on Dark Souls 1 a couple days ago, so there is still a lot of holes in my knowledge about the stuff that's not brand new, but is kind of more fundamental. And then Dark Souls 2 is... yeah, I need to improve on that game. Eventually we'll speedrun it. You know, I was in the middle of learning it, but we'll have to return to that at some point. Alright. Yeah, I think that's gonna be it. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed the show. For the people on YouTube, all links below. Thank you to Nick Style for letting me react to his whole video. Thank you to the Dark Souls 3 community, including Hemlocks, Sieg, and some other guys, for telling me, helping me a little bit with the Anri route, the Anri Straight Sword route, helping me to understand a little bit about the history. Thank you to all the Dark Souls 1 runners who make really good educational content that made it so I could kind of find all this information on my own that I needed to be able to confidently convey the information. And yeah, of course, the Sekiro guys for finding the new shit, and all the other guys for finding, or the other people for finding the new stuff that's made this show a reality after all. If no one's doing anything on these games, you know, you have nothing to talk about, then. Yeah. Then you just have to, you know, then you actually have to come up with your own shit. Like, imagine that. All right. I think, yeah, that's gonna be all the shout-outs. I'll shout out to of course, everyone in chat who is currently watching. Thank you guys for being here. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. And I'm gonna say thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.